good Tuesday evening and welcome to SBN Live 660. We are here in the building from a remote location. We have special guests in the building tonight. It should be a great show. Everybody out here, hang on. Let's go. Coming to you live this Tuesday night. I'm in the building with my main man, my AKA, I want to say, and he's on the line. Can you hear us, caller? Robert Wilson, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I hear you, my brother.
All right, I can. Let me just give the listeners a little preview on us playing Connect Four. Do you remember those days?
Yes, I do. On
Uh,
Wilbur Avenue.
yes. So yes, I'm on the line with him. Was track star extraordinaire, and now coaching track. And you coach high school or elementary, or do you coach both?
Nah, I coach high school out here in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, tell me about some of the challenges of coaching high school track and field, and talk about some of your experiences because you've competed on some of the highest levels around.
Yeah, well, you know, first of all, I think the biggest challenge with coaching high school opposed to, let's say, like summer track, summer track is equivalent to, like for a lot of you guys and girls who are, well, not girls, but women who are listening, is equivalent to, let's say, like AAU basketball. So in summer track, you get the best kids from around the city. They come and they run from you. They run, jump, or whatever have you. But in a high school setting, you have to deal with what you got pretty much.
Right.
So, and then also that's the number one challenge. And then the second challenge is that it's not like college. So where in college, the coaches and the universities are paying these kids to compete. In high school, it's just free. You're hoping these kids that are coming out for your program really do love sport and they care about winning. So those are the biggest challenges. And then in the areas that I actually coach at, which is in Southwest Atlanta, you have other factors as well. You have your family dynamics. You have kids who, not necessarily have the greatest parents, so to speak. So that comes from just proper nutrition. Parents are really caring about if they are passing their classes or not. You know what I mean? Because the kids have to be eligible to compete. So
Right.
so it's a lot of variables that do take place. But I would say the biggest challenge is in the high school setting is that you're dealing with the kids that you have to that are actually in your building. And in Georgia, whereas some states, your kids are able to come to your high school although they don't live in your district. Well, in Georgia, only certain kids can come to my high school. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's
Right.
not like I can get a kid that lives, 40 miles away, but the parent wants them to come to Westlake and compete for Westlake. So it doesn't happen like that. So once again, it's just dealing with what you got. So that's the biggest challenge. And then myself, I actually competed in high school. Competed in track and basketball as well in high school. Went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on a track scholarship. I was blessed enough to, do pretty well for myself. I ended up a four-time All-American in
Nice.
the 400-meter dash. Did pretty well with that. And then I was blessed to run professionally for 5 years. I ran all around Europe. I ran in some Olympic trials. And I had a really great career. I met a lot of great people. I learned a lot. I had some awesome coaches, awesome agents. So I just took that experience that I had on my professional career and brought it to the high school level. And I think that has been one great asset for my program.
Well, I think it's I think one of the most important things is being able to give back, and I will get sentimental a little bit and um,
Mm-hmm.
say that it's great that you're able to give back your information, your knowledge, your experiences to younger people who are coming up because I think that plays a big part in how you mold the next generation. So I'm sure you've got a ton of experiences, and we'll talk about some of them today on the show. I
Right.
I
Right.
also wanted to ask you the question that's been burning me for the last couple of days since we knew we were going to have you on SBN Live 660, 7 p.m. every single Tuesday from 7 to 8. Here was the question I had. What do you think that athletics did for you as far as molding you as a man?
Man, that's an awesome question. That's an awesome question because that's one thing that I tell, especially my young men, is that what it did for me is number one, it really taught me how to persevere because in athletics, you know, you're gonna have your great days and you're gonna have those bad days. And
Right.
like I tell my kids that you know it's easy to win. It's easy when you're on top and everybody screaming your name and you're going to the track meet or basketball game or just whatever have you, and you the man. You know what I mean? But what about those days when you're on the track and you're not running so well, or you getting your tail busted on the track? You know what I mean? Or you have an injury. You know what I mean? So you know how are you going to bounce back? So for me, it just really taught me how to deal with uh, deal with the valleys that have taken place in my life, and to understand that it's only just temporary. You know what I mean? It's not going to be forever, and allow me to just to keep grinding, so to speak. And that's just what it's about. And so that's what I try to tell these kids is that look, you know, everybody loves to win. Don't get me wrong. Everybody loves to win championships, but the person that you are today as a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, you know, your character is going to follow you once you can't run anymore. And
Right.
so, like I tell especially my young men, I say, you know, once you have a family, you have kids, things get rough on you. You know, what you going to do? You know, are you going to quit or are you going to keep grinding as you did when you were running track or you were playing football or playing basketball? And that's what it did for me. You know what I mean, Rasul? And I know Mom, you know my family,
Right.
you
No
know,
doubt.
and you know what type of men that came out of Newark, and that's what I try to just instill in these, not only our young men, but our young women too. Because like I teach our young women, I say, you know, you are going to be someone's mother one day. You are someone's wife one day.
Right.
You know, and your child is going to have to be able to have a mother that is that is willing to just keep just to keep pushing forward. On when things go pretty much to go south sometimes.
Right. You know what's crazy, and that's why I really want to ask you this. And I love the answer. I think the answer is I'm dead on with you with the answer as well. But when we talk about winning, everybody wants to win, and you touched on this. But I think that there's a part of losing and a part of I don't even know what the right word is, but there's something about not being able to achieve what you achieve or trying to and failing that builds a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
character that helps you out and it helps you deal with life in general. As it, like I'm 6 feet 6 inches tall and I was a pretty tall kid growing up, so it's awkward
Right,
and athletics was something that made me feel like I fit in. Again, you the man, you could play, you could do this, you could
right,
do that, but socially, winning and losing taught me how to deal with real life adversity. And I was just curious to make sure because I
right.
didn't run track anything serious. I did run track in elementary school, probably seventh and eighth grade, but wasn't really good at it. We had to run to play basketball, so they made us run cross country for endurance, and
Right,
I was okay with it.
right.
But and I come from a family where my pops ran, and he was like, in his day, he was a star. So people expected that out of me, and the
Mm-hmm.
successes and failures of sports help mold me as a man, and I absolutely appreciate it. I actually think if every kid could play some kind of sport, no matter what it is, and if you're calling poker and NASCAR driving and whatever else sports, I think they should because it
Correct.
teaches you some interaction and it teaches you how to deal with success and failure.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna give you a great example, and it's kind of ironic that we're talking about this right now, Russell. I had the best hurdler in all state of Georgia. This young man, he was a senior this year, a kid named Tremaine Flatler. This dude was one of the best hurdlers in the nation, not just in Georgia, but in the nation. Okay, so this kid was going to win state hands down in his hurdling events. He ran the 110s. And in high school, we run the 300 hurdles. In college, they run 400 hurdles. So he was the best in the state in the 110 hurdles, 300 hurdles, nationally ranked kid. Okay, and our first qualifying meet before we had to go to the state meet. He ran his 110 hurdles. He did awesome. gets to the 300 hurdles. This kid breaks his tibia.
Wow.
Breaks it. Ambulance, yeah, breaks his tibia in the middle of the race. He landed wrong, planted wrong, boom, uh, breaks his tibia, right? So, of course, it's tragic, you know what I mean, because the kid is injured. But not only is it tragic because the kid is injured, I mean, this kid was one of the best kids in the nation, right? And so, fast forward, once he, um, he had to have surgery, healed up. A couple weeks later, this kid came back to me. And his exact words were to me, he said, Coach, I'm going to be all right. This is not the first setback I had in life. I'm
Right.
going to be okay. And for
Nice.
him to tell me that really meant a lot because I know that him being in athletics growing up, he had to deal with some things. You know what I mean? And like I said, this kid had so much promising as far as winning championships ahead of him. Now, he still, because he ran so well his high school career, he still was able to get a scholarship. But just the fact that he ended up getting injured his senior year, right before the state championships, and he didn't, of course he was hurt, physically and emotionally, but he didn't hang his head low. He didn't. After surgery, about 2 more weeks, came to my room and he told me, hey, Coach, I'm going to be okay. And here it is. I'm all broke up, tears, still just upset about the situation. And you got a 70-year-old kid telling him, hey, Coach, I'm going to be okay. But I know athletics helped him to have that attitude.
No doubt, no doubt. We too, and now we talk about injuries, and I come from a basketball background, so I'll ask the questions, and I'm trying to relate it. I'm a guy who's torn multiple ligaments multiple times. How do the track competitors recover from serious injuries like the one you're talking about, or is are torn ligaments a part of that injury? I mean, a part of that sport. I know a lot of pulled muscles happen there, but is it? Do
Yeah,
people tear
it's not
ACLs running
not
track?
ligaments, so to speak, but you have your strain. Is mostly it's going to be your hamstrings.
Right.
Particularly with your sprinters. Your 400 on down because they're running so fast and they put a lot of stress on your body. So you get a lot of strains. You know, either that you hear about is your strains and pulled hamstrings. But but for the most part, the kids and even professional athletes who really take care of their body, they're eating right, they're getting adequate sleep, they're warming up properly, they're stretching properly, they're cooling down properly, after their races to get the lactic acid out of their legs. Those athletes don't really get injured. I mean, yeah, you may have some with some minor injuries here and there, but even if you look at Usain Bolt, fastest man in the world, you haven't heard that he has major injuries because a
Right.
lot of times, you have those kids, professional athletes in practice, like in track, like you're really, really in tune with your body. I mean, like you're really, really in tune, and not to say that other sports are not, but because that's what we do. I mean, we just run, 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 run. So we get kids all the time who come to practice say, "Hey, coach, my hamstrings kind of sore, or I'm kind of tight." So when the kid comes to tell me that, I know that okay, well, we're gonna back off of them a lot, or they just not gonna do any running today. They may go get in a whirlpool, bicycle, or just whatever it is. So it's a lot of ways that you can prevent those. Now, of course, you get some coaches, they want to be tough guys or whatever, and they want to try to run those kids through those injuries, and now you get these major hamstring strains and hamstring pulls.
And it's crazy. Quick question before we go to break. I just want to when I'm sure you have parents who are do you well first off let me not assume you have a lot of parents who are involved in the kids high school careers as far as showing up to practice or dropping them off, or are they just dropped off like, or kids. I know when I was in high school a lot of kids just participated in sports and their parents really had no clue. What's the parental
Right.
involvement? What do you see from that, and do you think it could be better, or is it great? I don't know what it is now. I mean, I'm 25 years
Well,
out of high school.
I'm gonna tell you like this. In my high school, we average about in the beginning of the season, and even throughout the season, we average about 90 to 100 kids that come out and they want to run track for Westlake High School.
Right.
Okay, that's a lot of kids,
How
boys
many? How
and
many? How
girls.
many people in your high
Junior
school?
varsity, varsity. Okay. Now I don't allow parents to come to my practice. Well, you can come to the practice, but you got to sit in the stands.
Right.
Okay. That's if you want to come to the practice. Now, because we're so good, and I'm just not saying that to pat ourselves on the back, but because
But
we're really good,
why
we do
wouldn't
get a
you?
lot of
Why
parental
wouldn't you?
involvement. Huh?
Why wouldn't you? As you should. If you're good, you should say you're good.
I mean, but we now the track meets, our parents do show out. I will say that. But especially those kids who are a big piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
So if Rasul is the man in the hurdles, of course his people are going to be there.
Yeah.
Right, but even on a junior varsity level, those young kids who aren't able to be on the varsity level, we still get a good parental turnout. Now, do I think it can be more? Of course, it can be more. Because if I got 90 to 100 kids, like I tell my parents in the parent meeting, you know, we don't run a babysitting service. I got kids of my own that I can be dealing with, spending time with. So, when you come to these meets, not only are you watching the meets, I I put a lot of pressure on my parents as well as far as being involved in our home track meets. You know what I mean? So we need volunteers to help move hurdles, to rake sand, to work in the concession stand. So although we do have a lot of parental involvement, it's not how I want it. Because for me to have 90 to 100 kids, I should be turning people down, telling people that I have enough volunteers to come help out at the meet. But like I said, but they do come to the meet. They do root us on because we are very good. I mean, we are, but it can be better. It can be better. But you also have those parents, though, of course, who don't do anything for their child. I mean, kid is very good. I mean, I can't tell you how many pair of shoes that we buy every year, that my track booster buys every year because parents. It's not even that they don't want to buy. I mean, it's not that they can't buy it, but they choose not to. That giving their kids the proper shoes to compete in so they can be successful. So my booster club, I mean, I can't even tell you how many pair of shoes that we bought just this year, and we do that every year.
All right, when we get back after this break, we're going to talk about the success of his high school program. Let's talk about some of your greatest experiences being a track athlete, as much as we can. This is censored radio, uh, and we'll talk about. I really want to ask you about kids who want to go professional and what your advice is for that. So I will ask Robert Wilson all these questions right after the break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
We went to Sandals because the best of everything was included. But we never expected exclusive land and water sports, including golf and scuba diving. Seriously, gourmet dining at 16 restaurants, including and unlimited premium drinks 24/7. Sandals said they had more quality inclusions than any other resorts on the planet. What we never expected was they do. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
It's just different.
Welcome back to SBN Live 660. We're on the line with Robert Wilson. Can I call you track superstar? Is that fair?
Go ahead. That's fine with me. I like the way that sounds.
Track superstar down in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's absolutely giving back to our young people. Coaching now. I read your bio earlier, and it's phenomenal. Talk about some of the high points of your personal track career. As far as traveling, let us know what it was like to be able to compete on the level that you did. Most people don't get to compete past the high school level, and you obviously did. So if you can just share with the listeners how it was to be able to compete on a professional level.
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it was. I mean, my first year was definitely a learning curve, so to speak, because just like in any other facet in athletics, whether it be high school, college, the biggest difference is week in and week out. I had to compete against the best of the best. So whereas in college, it's an 8-lane track. Or if you run on a big track, 9-lane track, most tracks are 8 lanes. In college, okay, out of those 8 lanes, you made, maybe 3 of those other cats were pretty solid, maybe, depending on where you were competing at. Well, professionally, running overseas, every lane 1 through 8, everybody can go. But it was an awesome experience for me because, like I said, once again, I was able to compete against some of the guys who I looked up to when I was in college. I think one of my best moments, and probably worse at the same time, was when I had a chance to compete against Michael Johnson in the 2000 Olympic trials out in Sacramento, California. Now, this is a guy who I absolutely loved growing up, to watch this man run, Michael Johnson. I remember he came to Atlanta in the 96 Olympics. I was at the Olympic Games watching him break the record in the 200 when he ran 1932. So fast forward 4 years later, I was able to compete against him. Although he, beat me handily, but it still was a dream to say, hey, I was able to, compete against someone who I really looked up to, so to speak. Of course, running in Europe was awesome. It allowed me to, and that's what I try to tell young kids as well, especially, because we are talking about track. Like I tell my track kids, I say, look, you may not make it to the Olympics. You may not make it to the World Championships. I said, but you allow your God-given ability to take you as far, whether it be college, whether it be, you have to, run professionally or not, but you allow your God-given ability to take you places that you probably wouldn't go. And that's what I tell people all the time. I don't have any regrets, Rasul. I was able to travel around the world for 6 years on somebody else's ticket, go places that I know I couldn't afford to go.
Right.
But that I was able to go for free. And that within itself is what they say is priceless. Even now, I have very, very good friends of mine because we competed in the high school together. People who competed in the Olympics who are actually gold medalists, silver medalists. Angelo Taylor, he's from Atlanta. Terrence Trammell, he's from Atlanta. Dwight Phillips. All of us are great friends. And I don't feel any type of way when these guys come around, they come talk to my kids, because I knew I did. I gave everything I had. So that experience competing on a professional level, like we spoke earlier, it helped mold me to be the man that I am now.
You're still young. You almost say young man. You're still young. It's okay.
Yeah. So but it was awesome. It was awesome. If I had to do it over again, I'd do it the same way because, like I said, I was able to experience things that I knew I couldn't have done on my own dime or my parents' dime because we didn't have that money for me just to travel all around the world many times over. I remember talking to my uncle, and he used to always tell me I need to go these places, and this was prior to me, running track in college and running professionally. And then now, it made me feel good to be able to talk to my uncle and say, hey, man, yeah, I've been in this spot because he was able to go to those spots as well, doing something that he loved to do.
And you know what? So it's ironic that we speak about this now, and obviously I didn't play a professional sport, but I did compete athletically and was able to travel a little bit and just meet new people and see different stuff, even as a youngster, 14, 15, being on a traveling team and understanding what actually was so crazy. One of the youth games was in Atlanta that I went to that I was just like, wow, Atlanta is something different because the only thing I knew was New Jersey. And so,
Right.
just being able to have that experience and it, I lie to you not. We're having this conversation on SBN Live 660 every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right now. And I was just having a conversation with people earlier today about basketball stuff and some guys that I played with who wound up going professional, playing overseas and playing in the NBA, and just remembering taking trips with them and going places and doing whatever. And it molds you. Your contacts are different. When you play a sport, people know,
Oh,
and you probably could pick up the phone and make a phone call if you had to make a phone call, well, and get somebody and be able to be connected with something. So the whole youth sports movement is very important, man. Like I said, I'll repeat it and I'll say it until the day I die. I wish that every kid could be involved in some way. We're in conversations now, talking to some folks about even having guys who are gonna keep the books. They're involved in the sports thing, or guys, equipment managers. They're gonna be involved in the sports thing. And you look at professional athletes now, outside of Tom Brady, who's kicking in he's kicking the backs end of his ball boys for Deflategate. But most guys revere those people who are around them because they do so much and they appreciate the fact that they're 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 instrumental in the success in that athlete's success. So I just wish that
yeah.
everybody could be able to be involved in that and to be a part of a team and to be, connected with a fan. It's like an outside family for real. And that's why I do.
Oh yeah, it is.
I lie to you not. I admire you so much for being able to deal with young people because I know it's challenging. I know sometimes that it's. I did listen. I coached some fifth graders before, and I was like gun to my head about the bullet trigger. So I know it's a difficult thing.
Yeah, yeah, it does, and that's why any other particularly coaches just period. I mean, any coach. I don't care what sport it is. That's why I have a lot of love for the coaches who have a lot of passion for whatever sport that they do. And I'm not even talking about the coaches that win the most. Just coaches who really care about their kids
Yeah.
and they care about the well-being of their kids. I mean that is awesome. I mean, you know what I mean? Because you don't. I'm telling you something. My high school coach, I'm gonna give him a shout out, Vincent Cobb, right here in Atlanta. When I see this man, I get so excited. Here I am, 38 years old.
Yeah.
But when I see my high school coach, when I see him around the city, see him at track meets, I get so excited, and I want everybody to meet my high. I bring him over to my team and say, "Hey, this is my coach."
Right.
Like this is my dude because he did so much for me. And my father was very active in my life. My father was at all my competitions, but just on a daily basis, being at practice, taking me through the winter, having confidence in me, making me be the person who I am, in high school and, catapulted me to be the person who I was in college and professionally. It's just so much love. You know what I mean? So, when you have good coach, whether it's high school, whether it's, Pop Warner football, Little League basketball, I mean, just whatever it is, it's awesome when you do have coaches who really care about their kids and, the ones who really care about their sport.
All right, let me switch it up a little bit. And in the entire sports world now, we've been talking about the success of Alex Rodriguez in baseball and performance enhancing drugs. And PEDs are really big in track and field. Tell me about, without naming names,
Oh, yeah.
tell me about what you know about people using PEDs in track and field, and were you able to tell that somebody was on it or not?
Man, that's huge. Yeah, I'm not gonna say any names, but I know cats personally. Know cats who are taking PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, and it's really disheartening because particularly in your sport and track, and in other sports, cats do take them, and you do have cats that are on PEDs and some other sports or whatever it is, and they still may not be able to do what Alex Rodriguez has done or whatever it is. But in track and field, those athletes who are already blessed by God or whoever you may believe in, and now they on PEDs,
Right.
it really takes them to a whole nother level. Because it does. Because you got to keep in mind, see, with track and field, I'm gonna give you a great example. In track and field with my kids, I can't hammer my kids 4 days in a row. I can't, because their bodies can't take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I gotta have that recovery day in there. So we may go hard on Monday, but on Tuesday we come back. I kind of draw back a little bit because I got to give their bodies time to recover.
Right.
Right? Well, with those PEDs doing track, of course, that workload is able to be greater now.
Right.
Is able to be greater. It's
You
able
able
to be greater. So
they,
you push that body to more limits, to more limits, to more limits, and then of course, as you see, they're able to run really fast and perform at a really high level. And it is disheartening because when I was competing, I knew cats for sure that was on illegal drugs.
All right, before
Here it
you
is. I'm on my.
before you tell the story, let's explain to the audience, like, when you're working out, there's a muscle tear situation, and then your body needs to recover from the muscle tears. And so once you're on
Right.
performance enhancing drugs, it helps you recover from those tears faster. So when you're talking about giving your kids a break, you're giving them a break to help them recover from those muscle tears with the soreness, with all that, and the performance
Right.
enhancing drugs will help you get past that, so you're able to train harder than somebody who's not on it. All right, just to tell the people who don't know about PEDs. All right, so tell me about the guys that
Right.
you, not names again, but just tell me about guys that you know. Tell me about situations that you know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you a true story. Not to say any names of cats. We were at the Mount Sat Relays in California. Now, this is a really huge track meet in California. A lot of professional athletes come to this meet. It's a really great meet at Mount Sat Relays, right? And at the time, back then, they had your human growth hormone. They had it where it was like in the gel, and you would rub it on your stomach, right? So that's what they wanted you to rub it on. They rub it on your stomach, it absorbs in your skin, so now you got it in you. And I never forget, I was going into the restroom, using the restroom before my race a little bit, and it was a restroom that was off from the main stadium, okay? So, a lot of people really didn't go to that restroom. A lot of people went to the other restroom that was closer to the stadium. I go in the restroom. Now, this is a cat who I had to compete against in about 2 hours.
Right.
I see this cat rubbing gel on his stomach, right?
Right.
So at the time, I'm like, okay, I really didn't, I kind of just saw him doing it, you know what I mean? And I really didn't pay any mind to it until about 30 minutes before we get on the line to run. And I said, wow, this dude is just hitting himself up with some more HGH,
Right.
And it's disheartening because you have guys who are trying to go about it the right way.
Right.
I mean, of course, you can't. Of course, you take supplements. Of course, everyone has to take supplements to allow your body to regroup. Of course, but it's really disheartening for those cats, those guys and girls who are doing it the right way, and they know other people are doing it the wrong way, and that really tarnishes the sport. So so when you're talking about cheating and things of that nature, that's why, that's really like a sore subject for me because I experienced personally cats who I knew that were on drugs. And I'm not going to say any names, but also when I came out of college, see, like in track, when you run professionally, you have a lot of different agents. Like my agent's guy, and I'm going to give him a shout out, Paul Doyle. That was my old agent, Paul Doyle. Okay, Paul Doyle is one of the biggest track agents now. If cats are running fast, jumping far, whatever it is, they're with Paul Doyle.
Okay.
Paul is the man. And Paul would when I come out of college, Paul was kind of, so to say, like recruiting me to come work out with their training group. So professionally, you have certain cats who work out with a certain coach, but professionally. So you may have a group in California. Let's say me, Rasul, Steve, and Mike. We may train with coach such and such in Carolina, right? So coming out of college, I had a couple of different training groups that were wanting me to come train with them, and it's a blessing. I'm gonna tell you, it's a blessing. I was about to go to this one training group in North Carolina. I was very close to going to this training group because they had a lot of top-notch athletes. Thought they at the time thought they had a really awesome coach. Talking with them, talking to my agents, getting ready to go to this training group, and for some reason I did not decide to go to that training group in North Carolina. A big part of it is because I did want to come back home to Atlanta because it was a great training group here as well. But a lot of those athletes that were in that training group in North Carolina, the coach, a lot of the top sprinters, throwers, got caught up using drugs. Now, not to say that I would have been on drugs
Right.
because I would have gone there, but I just picture, the pressure that I would have been under being in this training group with these guys and girls on a daily basis, week in and week out, and they're on drugs. You see what I'm saying? So I would have been in a very uncompromising situation. So yeah. So I don't agree with PEDs at all.
All right, being a professional athlete, and I'm talking about I'm going cross sports now. So again, PEDs are a big PEDs are a big conversation in baseball now. And there's a lot of talk about PEDs being in football and how people don't care about it. People care more about it in baseball than football. People care about it in track. People obviously care about it in cycling. But being a professional athlete, can you see, even not being around an athlete, can you see somebody and say, you know what, he's probably using? Is that something that you can see with your own eyes being a professional athlete?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm going to tell you why it's a great question, because this is a former athlete and a person who loves athletics. I personally don't want to just say, hey, this person is on PED just because they run really fast, or because they can hit the ball really well, or because they can make this many tackles through the game. So it's sad to say, but in my line in track and field, yes, I can kind of look at it and see how well someone is running, and I can say, yo, this person is on something other than just Gatorade and amino acids. Okay. You know what I mean? But like I said, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt because I love athletics so much across the board, all sports. And I never wanted to be that person to say, oh, well, they must be on steroids because they're doing so well in their sport.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And until that person, just like when Usain Bolt. I mean, Usain Bolt, people who don't really understand how fast this man has been running. That's like seeing a two-headed monster walking down the street. Like that's real. Like Bigfoot is real. 9'5", and the times he has run is like something that no one who watches and loves track and field would ever think that someone can actually run that fast. So, people say, well, yeah, he's on drugs, he's this, he's that, but Usain hasn't gotten busted on drugs yet. So, and I'm pretty sure he's been tested so many times. That's just like Justin Gatlin. Justin Gatlin just came back. Yeah, he was banned for drugs for a while. I was reading an article the other day. Just this year, this man has been tested close to 60 times this year alone. But he's still running. But he's running super fast right now.
All right, so we know. So let me just get this out for the people who are listening. We know that people are ahead of the curve on the test, right? So we watch guys get away, and I'll talk some baseball thing. And I'm in love with I was in love with Barry Bonds when he was in Pittsburgh, and when he went to San Fran, but he's never failed the test. But I watched the dude's head get bigger, and I'm going, your head doesn't grow at 35. Whatever size your head is now, your head till you die. So, I mean, I'm gonna listen to my eyes. I'm gonna, what I see here, and I just wanted to know, what Usain Bolt, do you believe it's all natural, or do you believe that it's a little enhanced by performance drugs?
Honestly, my heart, like I said, wants it, like you just said, Barry Bonds' head shouldn't be getting bigger. It should not be getting larger at 35. And with Usain Bolt, I believe this man is on something other than like I said, amino acids and Gatorade. I'm
Wow.
telling you. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I just in my heart of heart. Although he has been fast since he's been a youth. I mean, he was breaking records when he was 15 years old. The man's been fast. So this is nothing new. But the stuff that he's doing is like out of this world.
Right.
So yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
look, I'll give a quick story. I was in elementary school and I had um two kids who were about my size who played basketball. And in the summertime, you kind of like everybody kind of goes away, kind of goes their own separate way, so you don't necessarily see everybody. And these two kids came back huge. Like my next brother is 10 years older than me. They came back like his size, and I was going, what happened? And then I found out later on that they were using some supplements. This is sixth, seventh
Wow.
grade, and this is 85. So I mean, it's out there, and I grew as much as anybody grew. So I was just like, you got to be kidding me. But it's a different thing. And I
Wow.
was really curious to see if you could look at a guy who runs, and you can tell that he's probably on something or not. You
Right. Oh yeah.
tell
Yes, you can.
t- tell me about the difference between when you had your high school training. We shouted out your high school coach. Shout him out again. I don't remember his name.
Oh, oh yeah. Coach Vincent Cobb. Coach Vincent Cobb.
What was the difference between the intensity of high school practice and the intensity of college practice and the intensity of professional practice? Can you kind of
Oh yeah.
explain the
Oh
tiers
yeah.
to
It
us?
was. I mean, I can sum it up like this. In college, in college, you had state champions on your team. Everybody's a state champ. Everyone's all region. Everyone's all county. So it was ridiculous. I mean, so it was no downtime from college to well, from high school to college. It was just no downtime. I mean, just the competition was so fierce. Okay, true story. When I was down in Baton Rouge, I was just blessed to be in a great situation with a great group of guys who really love to compete. Southern University, for you all who don't know, it's a historically black college, right? Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And just like with any other sport, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, the larger powerhouse schools they would dominate. I mean, you see it all the time. Like my school, Southern, plays University of Georgia September 26th, and my wife went to Georgia, so we're joking about the game, and everybody knows that Georgia's gonna pound Southern's head in. Okay, we know that. But one thing that we loved at Southern University when it came to track, we had a group of guys, about 12, 13 guys who can really roll, who can really just perform. So when we would go to these meets, LSU banned us for coming to their meets one year. I mean, in all events, I mean, we would just scrape them up, and we would just drag them. So they had us stop coming to their meets. But I say that to say this: when we would be in practice, okay, our 4x4 at the time when I was there, we were one of the best in the nation, top 2 in the nation. The only team that could beat us when I was there was Oklahoma, and Baylor would beat us sometime. Anybody else, they couldn't beat our relay. So we would be in practice. True story, right? So in practice, time trial, running by ourselves, nobody else running with us. Our coaches that make us do, time trial, just to see where we at. So we would get on the track, warm up, and in our time trial, we would run so fast. We would run like top 10 times in the nation in practice. That's how fast we would run in practice.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. We would run. If anybody, we would run in practice 3:05 in practice. 30 like 3 minutes 5 seconds. 3:06 in practice. You had teams who were running that all out in competition. Whereas we were running in competition, we would run 3:01, 3:02s in competition. But we'd get practice by ourselves. We'd run 3:06 by ourselves in practice because it was just competition. Because we didn't want to, because coach would clock our splits. Okay, well, Russell, you ran as fast as your leg. Robert, you ran as fast as your leg. So we always had to bet. You didn't want to be the person who had the slowest split. So it was just competition.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question after we're gonna take one more break, and I'm gonna ask you a question after the break. I'm gonna ask you the question now, and I'm gonna let you think about it after the break.
Say it again now.
I'm gonna ask you a question now. Let you think about it. Let you think about it over the break. All right.
Okay.
Fastest white guy you ran with. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right.
We're back on SBN Live 660 with our special co-host today, and you got a promise to come back on the show again because you're an absolutely great co-host with me, Mr. Robert Wilson, superstar. You like that, right? Superstar.
Man, sounds awesome, man. I'm getting used to this.
Super, super, superstar track man, and he's also helping mold and shape our youth for the future. Want to ask, can we get into something that's a little not trying to get you in trouble? How do professional athletes interact with each other as far as different sports? So if you're somewhere and you've got a track competition and then some NBA guys come in, how's that work?
Well, I think with me, I think it's just like kind of like music. I mean, it's just universal. I think that we all pay homage to what everybody else does. So I don't think there's any love lost. I don't know if that's what you're hinting towards. I think that is just a mutual respect for what arena that you're in. Because just like cats are starstruck about let's say LeBron James. I'm pretty sure LeBron James is fascinated with what cats do on the tracks. You know what I mean? Something that he can't do. And it's just a mutual respect. So just like at my high school, so to speak, track and field is, of course. Well, let me back up. In the South here, football is king. I don't care what you're talking about. Football is